Hello everyone, welcome back to Railway Cottage. It is a sneaky Monday night and I have managed to grab a little bit of time down in my studio tonight. I'm doing a bit of a trial with my camera. I'm having to change some functions and settings and it's all, Latin to me basically. So I'm getting some remote help from my brother in Sydney who's very, very clever. So the next few videos might be a little bit of finding little errors and fixing them. So bear with me. Hopefully we'll get there by the end of the week. We'll have all the settings where they need to be. But anyway, welcome back to Railway Cottage. I am at the point where I am sewing together 2 of the 3 last panels of Home is Where the Heart Is. They are both complete and I'm ready to sew the 2 on. And given that the last video that I did sewing the panels together was a bit hard to see, I thought I'd give it another crack with my new camera. So hopefully this one's a little bit easier for you to see what's happening. I'm just moving some cables over here. All right, stay there you. Okay, so you can see my 2 panels. They're each 26 inches wide. They're both complete. I started with this sheeting. I actually ran out of the plain sheeting by this point, so I have used some old, the back of a Sheridan Doona cover that I got from Vinnie's. The front of it was actually what I used as the back of my menagerie quilt. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's soft, 100% cotton. It is finished. All of my layers are done. All of my bits and bobs are on, and I'm ready to stitch these 2 together. So I've just laid them out next to each other. This is where one ends and the other one begins, right here. I'm going to show you how I just nip and tuck them into place. You can see that both of the edges have got lots of sticky out bits. And look, I haven't left big gaps for things to flop over. I've just made the panel how I wanted it to be. And you can see this one as well. There's a few bits and pieces, but generally it's only a little bit sticky outy, if you know what I mean. So I am going to make a start pinning these how I want them to be. It's a pretty simple process. I'm just going to move both of these panels so that I have you in the middle of my camera. Hold your horses. Here we go. Oops. Here we go. I'm going to move you over. I've just got my board underneath so that when I stick my needle through, I'm not making it go super blunt on the table all the time underneath the timber table. So there are my 2 panels. A little bit busy. I love them. I'm very happy with them. Do you remember when I went to the Gympie quilt show? There was a lovely lady who was selling some things and I bought a few things from her and I can't remember her name. But she gave us this as a gift. And they're beautiful old fabrics that she's collected. So it was just a little heart. So I've just added a few bits and pieces to it so that I can add it to my Home is Where the Heart Is quilt and made it into a little brooch. So how lovely was that of her? So let's have a look. I'm going to start at the bottom. Now there is a slight size differentiation, so I'm going to make sure the top aligns because this is the bottom row of the quilt. It's okay if the bottom is a little bit wonky, but I want the top to align so that it is straight. It's a straight edge for the row above. These are just pins to show me what number it is. This is number 2, so I can take them out. And I'm going to start. I'm pulling it towards me slowly so that you can see what I'm doing. Let's go. Let's find the top. All right, that's the top of it. So 1 piece, 2nd piece. So I start by just basically seeing what works. I need an overlap of at least 1 centimetre and I will lose a few bits and pieces on the side, and like I've said, I'm 100% fine with that. I do tend to nip and tuck between the layers. So I'm just going to bring my beautiful pin cushion over here. And again, I'm just checking that I'm straight. And I'm literally just going to start pinning. Pinning. I just have to be conscious that that's not the edge, this is the edge. So I need to overlap those 2, just like that. Okay. Let's run it down. This table's handy because it has nice long lines. It helps me when I'm trying to keep straight. So here I've got a very, very straight edge. That doesn't do much for me. So I'm going to just do a swapsy. I'm going to swap that over and bring him up on top. to at least there. So what happens then is I have this little bit where we go uppy downy, and I just kind of, you know what, do that, make it work. I will make sure that it's well stitched together so that there are no holes. So that's good. You can see already that that join is disappearing because I've got this bit out of line, this is the line of the edge, and this bit is creating another visual line for your eye to follow. Now I think I'll plop it under there. Where is my green? Here we go. I think the green needs to come back on top. Let's have a look. Look at this beautiful lace. That's like a little bow. That might have to be on top here, I think. Yep. And again, I end up with this little sort of bit that's doing that. And when it's all stitched together, you actually cannot even see it at all. I'm just conscious of, yeah, I've got heaps of overlap. So I'm hoping you can hear me. I've had to spin my camera around so that, you know, you're not upside down like that last video. Sorry. Like I said, there will be some teething problems. I'm learning a whole new thing. So I'm just going to push the whole piece up a little bit just so I can get at the next bit. Okay. So again, I'm making sure my top is parallel to the edge of my table. I'm going to try and zoom in, so, you know, bear with me please. Let's go in. One, am I coming in? Okay, so we've zoomed right into here. Okay, let's see if that helps. Again, I'm learning lots of new things. So at the moment, this piece is on top, and as I go down, look, it just kind of does its own thing. You can see that that's an obvious place to come back over with my little doggy. What I'm trying to avoid is a clear line because we don't want it. We don't want it to be obvious. Anything but obvious. So I'm just going to try what it looks like if I just run the whole thing. Because, you know, in the interests of easiness, easy. And again, a little bit sticking out helped blur the line, but not loving it that much. Let's have a look. That little guy will tuck over. Yep, actually that's not too bad. It might be as simple as that. So here is this piece. I've moved over from here. I've gone from being underneath to on top. I am going to lose my little doggy, but that's okay. I know he's there. So I'm actually pinning through, not the bit that goes beyond the edge, but pinning through right on the edge so that I know that I've caught underneath. Lift it up, yep. Same here. Lift it up. Underneath. Okay, that looks okay. Have you had a good day? Did you go to work today? If you are anywhere near Queensland, you will know that teachers are striking this week. So that's new. I've never been on strike before. So we are striking on Wednesday. Alright, so that is pinned. Really, really simple. So you can see like I'm a bit buffy up here at the moment. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of room there because I kind of puckered that bit up a bit. That is literally as simple as it is. I'm going to try and zoom back out. There I am. I hope that was okay and didn't hurt your eyes. I'm now going to just start with, I've just used a crochet cotton. This is just one I've picked up from Vinnie's somewhere along the line. As I said, the cream ones are always there. Always there. Grab a bundle next time you're there. You can already see I can't even find where it is to sew. So I'm just going to give myself some room so I can push you forwards and hopefully you can just follow along and it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to bring you up to the top. And again, my pink board is just underneath so that when I dig down, I don't make my needles super blunt straight away. So let's see, I might zoom you back in for this. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom. We're pinned. So this is the bottom, this is piece 2. This is piece 3, and it is literally going to be grabbing a thimble, a matter of stitching. Hang on, oh, I'm missing my jug now. Hang on a second. Can I save any more of that jug? Probably not. That's okay. Looks like he's tucked into a cupboard. So I'm literally going to start at the bottom and go into that corner where the first bit of both backings are. And let's see if that works for us. So where I am at the moment, it's going to be easy to disguise the stitches because it's cream stitching. You won't even see what I'm doing. So I'm doing pretty chunky monkey stitches because I'm going through a lot of layers, and I'm always going through all of the layers. This is a joining stitch, and it's got a lot of work to do. So I'm going through all the layers, and it's a strong thread, and it should just be absolutely fine. Okay, so now I get to my little doggy, and I can either try and work around under his bum or just decide to stitch. I'm trying to avoid that, you know, a straight line of stitching that's the eye will catch because nothing else is straight. So I'm up to just the bottom of his bottom here. But because he has actually got, actually I'm just going to turn it over to see where I am. Because he has actually got so much white on him, I think if I vary my stitches as I go across his little body, I think I'll be fine. I don't think you'll see it. So I'm going to just go in the same direction as the dog's hair, dog fur, like that. And it just looks like another stitch rather than necessarily a stitch that's holding everything together. Okay, that's good. So this part is generally actually quite quick. It's the quilting that takes a while. So I'm going to go here again, and you can see that was my last stitch. It's just in the direction of his fur, and then it's just lost. Another one there, just making sure that I capture, yep, well and truly capture the overlap. Okay, so now I can go straight a bit again up through his tail. Just going to go up to here. Let me just pull you in a little bit along. So I'm just come out the other, I have just come out the other side of his tail. So again, this is easy because it's cream, you know, the cream edging on this doily has made it easy to hide my stitches. And again, I'm not trying to hide stitches as such, I just want to not have a straight seam that becomes very obvious. Now because this little bit of castle feature here has no white on it, and yet I need to go right through it, so I'm actually just going to go under him, and I'm going to push through so that the stitch is still where I need it, but it's not evident in the castle. And I think that's yet another one of Kathy Holden's fabulous fabrics. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Actually, I need to put that pin back, don't I? Same thing on the other side, so that I've sewn under basically the castle. So I'm going to go up to here, just working on this side for now. I can feel it at the back. It's a bit of pushing and prodding. There you go. So I've gone through the back in the middle of the castle, and I'm just coming out at the top so that he's very, very safe and he's not going anywhere. Where am I here? So this guy, I'm just going to put this pin here because it was flapping around a little bit. No flapping. So this is exciting. I only have one more panel of this quilt to go. I can't believe it. It just seems to have been part of my life forever. So a couple of big stitches here won't look astray because the edge is straight, we're just parallel. And there's nothing that they run onto, you know what I mean? Your eye stops here and then follows another part. Just checking that I've done that. Lift up my flappy bits that are going to hang over. And again, I've got heaps of overlap here, so this is going to be a very strong seam. My quilts are never perfectly square. I'm going to pull you down a little bit more. We're up to here. So I'm hoping that this new, what did I change? I changed the width of the focus. So I'm hoping that it's not doing what it did last night where it wasn't focusing on my hands as they were moving. And honestly, this camera stuff is all very new to me, and it's good. I'm learning some new tech skills. Well, not some new tech skills, some tech skills. And you can see how these pieces are just going to flap over that and make it basically very hard to see. So now I'm just going to check. Ooh, it's a bit close. If I run along under this doily, then I will capture both parts. So that's perfect. And that will hide it from me. Have I got both parts? Sometimes you just have to stop and go straight down. It's very easy to get a bit of a slide up. Okay. And then up through here. So basically the process that I'm doing now is then what I do to sew. I've got now one piece which is 6 blocks together, and then this piece will have 3 blocks together. So I basically do the same thing but on a much longer side, you know, along the top, to stitch the whole thing together. It's a bit of a job, but it's very satisfying. There we go. Back again, see where I was. So I'm probably making my centimetres about, my stitches about 1 centimetre long and 1 centimetre apart. And again, this quilt is going to be backed, so there's no danger of it falling apart. Now I'm just checking where my edges are here. It's hard to see, so this is hanging off. My actual edge is here, so I'm quite close, as you can see at the moment. So I'm just going to go in a bit here and come up about there. So I've probably moved in about half a centimetre, just because I was too close to the edge of the top panel. Okay, let's move you down a bit more. So now let me just have a look what I'm working with. So here I'll pull that up and see how everything comes. I know that I've got all the layers. So this bit of green is very sticky outy, but I'm actually going to go along here with my stitching, because then I know that I will capture everything that I need to capture underneath. Okay. So what I tend to do now is take the rest of the pins out, just to avoid any puckers that I might have produced on the way by, you know, pushing upwards or not pinning enough. I'm just going to pull you up so I can make a shorter stitch there. There we go. Come here. Alright, so we're up to here. So we're all stitched. I'm going to roll this way now so I can pull it closer to me. We're up to here. Just this little bit to go. So I'm actually going to top that pop one out. And again, I'm going to pop under here because I don't want to see these stitches. Because there's so many layers, it's very hard to go in and up. So I'm actually going to go straight down, because otherwise your stitches end up being too big for the sake of, you know, another minute that you're saving. So I can bring that up into here. Good. Alright, so now we're going to stop and have another look. See how I have a pucker here, look, doing like him. So let's just see what I need to do to sort him out. So let's just give him a little bit of a push. Let's make sure the bit that's going to be going from under to over is where it needs to be. And see, this is where it's happening. So this is where we're going from this panel being on top to this panel being underneath. So let's just, and sometimes I haven't had to do that at all on a side, it's just worked all one way or the other. So I'm just going to repin that with a bit more care. Oops, easier than said than done. Okay, I've just repinned that, and I might just have to move the pins with each stitch. So I'm going to go now up over you. Another layer, so I'm going to do a big straight push down. So I think the last thing in my camera that I need to work on is we're trying to get the white balance, which is all new language to me. Trying to get the white balance sorted because I've got a new LED light. So that is also hopefully something that will over the next little while just get better and better, because I need to learn how that all works. So down, there is no way that's going down on an angle. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go straight down, just there, through all those layers. Pull it through the back. Oh, did you go to work today? What did you do? Something nice? Did you have any nice cake? I've been eating healthily for the last couple of weeks. It's very disappointing. But, you know, when you just get into that habit of just saying yes to everything, something's got to give. All right. Ugh. See that big stitch there I'm not loving, but I'll just see how it looks when we're finished. It might be that it just looks fine. Come on. All right, I'm going to pull you a little bit further down. Hopefully you're still focused. This is where we are, right here in the middle. Sorry, there, not there. I've just got this pin holding these guys out of the way for me. So now we're going to the part where it overlaps. It goes from one side to the other. And what I tend to do here is actually just do a pretty big stitch. You know, stay where you are stitch basically. I'm going to pop underneath and do a couple of stitches actually directly onto that join, and that just makes the join flat. It's not a join, it's an overlap, I meant to say. Yeah, I've caught everything. So let's just see, we're going from there to there. So this is the spot. I'm just going to do a horizontal, because I don't want a hole. You can imagine that this is the spot where if there's going to be a hole, this would be it. So I'm just going to do a couple of stitches directly over. I mean, there will never be a hole because there's going to be a backing, but I will know it's there. Let's just do that. Let's pull that tight. You can see that. I'll do one more. I'm just going to go up into, oh, I didn't quite get it. There it is. Okay. And hopefully that will be enough to convince that little bit to stay down, stay in your box. Okay, look at that, that's much better. So let me see how close we are to the top. I'm going to just roll this bit up a bit more. Try not to make the white do what it is that the white's doing. So I can let this one down, I can let him down. See how I've lost the join now, it's good. My join is under here. So I'm going to continue up along through the blue. See how now I haven't got any edge at all. So I just need to remember that the blue is the bottom now, not the top. That's what I did wrong there. There we go. So now we've got to have this one on top and that one is underneath. The panel on the right is underneath. So I've got this little bit of, yeah, there's heaps of overlap. So I'm just going to stitch underneath my little stamp here. There's room, that's easy. Just going to go under. Hold your horse, I'm going to spin the whole thing around. So sorry, just hold on for 2 seconds because actually I'm going to spin it this way. Let's do it this way because I need to stitch to the right here. So I'm hoping you can see that. I'm up to here with my stitching. I've lifted my little stamp here because I need to capture some of this behind it. So I'm going to go there. And then I want some of the backing, which is further down there. And then I need to go through the bottom panel, which is here. And then up to there, because I've swapped now, remember? Same thing, I'm going to come up under that, but not through the stamp. So So there's actually a little hexagon there. I've come up on top of the hexagon, but underneath the stamp. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to take my pins out for the last bit so that I don't end up with any puckering. So I'm here, and because that's just a bit funny, I'm just going to do a stitch there, just because that wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. Let's have a look. Nearly done. See how I've missed the back there on that one? That's okay. I'm just going to go do a back stitch and pick it up, except it's underneath. Karen, there you go, did it again. This is on the top. Just do a back stitch to mix the stitch that I missed. And come up to here. We are nearly finished. Just making sure that I'm actually going along the edge. And again, I'm going to go up under my hexagon and under, so I don't see my stitching. Very nearly done. Up underneath again, out that side, there we go. Go there. Now this one I can see, I don't mind. Again, up through under my hexagon, there it is. And then it is complete. You can see how easy that was. What did that take, 20 minutes? So I'm just going to finish that off at the top, making sure that I actually capture both bits. And tie a knot. And that is as easy as it is. So it's just a matter of going bit by bit, matching up, ducking over and back, making sure you're making your stitches that you want to see visible and the ones you don't, not visible. So thanks for popping in. Let me spin that out. Look, you can't even see where I joined it now. Let me just zoom out. You cannot even tell where the join is. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon.